Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Cherries Red Army. I'm Kirk Tovey, and if we all calm down from the last gasp winner at Dean Court on Saturday, another win for the Cherries, 4 wins in a row. And we're taking advantage of having no midweek game to have a bit of a debate. We're going to break it into 3 halves. We're going to have a first half, half-time, and an interesting second half, which you're going to be able to get involved with throughout the evening. Use that interactive live chat, as you always do, to give us your thoughts throughout. We're going to be asking for your opinions throughout the evening, and let us know who's currently joining us right now, and even let us know where you're joining us from, because we have fans following Cherries Red Army from all around the world. And just to talk about that, we want to thank all of our new subscribers. We've gone to 826 now, and our continued subscribers that have been there from the start. So thank you very much. We're getting very close now to that 1,000 marker. So let's keep going. Also, at some point in this video, hit that like button. That's what helps this channel grow. So do smash that thumb, okay? And also, we want to appreciate and thank our channel supporter members. We normally do this at the end of the video, but I want to take advantage this evening to say it at the start, because we had our match day vlog from that Stoke game, over 500 views. And off the back of that, we had 2 donations, coffee donations from John Morgan and Jean. So thank you very much. It's much appreciated. It helps us deliver our content and do these live streams, more importantly, and our channel supporter members as well. Thank you very much. So we've got a busy night ahead of us tonight. Lots of guests from Cherries Red Army. And what is coming up? And here they are. Let's go round the room as we always do. Cherries Red Army, Aaron Kay. You look a lot more happier than you did at half-time on Saturday. How you doing?
Yeah, very good. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. What a fantastic end to the game.
And Matt Davis. Wasn't able to see you on Saturday, but you were there in the TED. Matt, how you doing?
Yeah, very well. Thanks, Kirk. Good evening to you all. Yeah, really pleased with the result in the end, if not the performance. But we got the job done, didn't we, eventually?
Fantastic. John, always follow the Cherries wherever you can. You might be on the road soon as well for an away game, but how you doing, John?
Yeah, hopefully get to a few more away games before the end of the season, because I don't want to be pointed out of the Blackburn game. But yeah, doing good. Was able to catch the game in the ways that I do from travelling from afar. But yeah, it was a difficult watch at times, but a great end. And hopefully we'll continue that this season.
And I caught up with this guy in the 1910 bar on that match day vlog, and he will be on the road on Saturday going to Preston. It's Steve Hensman. How you doing, Steve?
Yeah, not so bad, mate. Yeah, I'll be there Saturday, chugging up the M1 and the old Skoda. So yeah, I'll be making the journey.
Let's see who's watching us this evening then. We've got from one Steve to another. Stephen Dyer, great supporter of the channel. He's joining us along with Chris Hubble. Saw him on Saturday in the North Stand. Mark Singleton, channel supporter member. Mark Cole as well. Saw you behind the back of the net, fans. Reaction on Saturday. Our gaffer, Scott Parker, he's joining us this evening. Also great to catch up with Neil Whedon at the weekend in the 1910 bar. Look, great to see you, Neil. And he was on that match day vlog.
Surely Scott Parker can be a channel support member. He's got loads of money.
Surely. Liam, how are you doing? He's joining us. Jakey up the Cherries. We've got Layla as well, catching up between City and the Derby game. We don't mind that. Have us on in the background, or have them on in the background. And we've got lots coming up, guys, haven't we? We're going to be talking in the first half of this match stream about, can the Cherries keep getting away with it? At halftime, we have a mystery debate. You want to make sure you stay tuned for that, because you'll get involved. And at the second half, we're going to leave it late. But if you don't want to wait until May, we're going to tell you if Bournemouth will be promoted come May. So I do give the guys homework. They'll admit to this, won't you, guys? I do give you a lot of homework in these streams.
Always.
Yes.
Always.
Some of us better than others are doing it.
What I also do is I hide a lot from them. Okay, so let's go into the first half of this stream, and will the Cherries keep getting away with it? Well, before we answer that question, guys, I'm going to give you 4 reasons potentially why Bournemouth will get promoted. So I'm going to come to you first, Aaron, and you can pick a number between 1 and 4. So any number you want.
4.
Between 4. And this is a reason why Bournemouth might get promoted. And you're going to tell us why. Dom Solanke getting to 20 league goals on Saturday, he will get us promoted.
Well, if we do get promoted, he certainly has played a huge role in that this season. Any team that gets promoted or is there or thereabouts normally has a striker who's going to hit that 20, 25 goal a season mark. Fulham obviously have that with Mitrovic, who smashed it some time ago. And I think we've mentioned on previous shows, we don't really spread the goals around too much. Obviously Dom is one. Phil Billing has got quite a few. Jayden Anthony as well. But other than that, we've said Ryan Christie's got the couple. But no, we are very heavily reliant on Dom. He has just been in incredible form this season. I've been a bit concerned the last few games that he hasn't been firing as much as he had been early in the season. He obviously missed that penalty, which at Blackpool, which proved not to be decisive in the end. But yeah, come off the hour, come off the man. He was there, getting us back in the game on Saturday. And I think he's often been said he's the one player that we just cannot afford to get injured between now and the end of the season. So fingers crossed he doesn't, because if he does, then I think we really will struggle. So he's been immense. His work rate, everything about him has just been immense this season. So yeah, he's a huge reason why we will keep getting away with it, hopefully.
And guys, I know you're in the stream with me, but if you want to get involved and get involved with what maybe one of the other guys is saying, you have a debate to go against that, do let me know. But I'm sure we all agree that Dom Solanke's been brilliant this season.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the one thing is you look at the last game and say that I think really he was quite poor for pretty much the entirety of the last game. And then one long punt from a clearance, he dribbles the ball 40 yards up the field, wins the free kick, scores from that free kick, and then provides the, should we call it an assist for Jamal Lowe? Yeah, exactly. Very generous. But yeah, he pretty much had a poor 85 minutes in that last game. But then he was the deciding factor in the end. So it just shows how important he is to the squad.
And also, I need to thank Steve, because I put him on a bit of a task and he built up this beautiful thumbnail for me, didn't you, Steve? And it was released on Twitter when he hit that 20 league.
So long ago that I did it.
we've been sitting on that thumbnail for ages, haven't we? And make sure you keep checking out Cherries Red Army, because there might be a Dom Solanke video coming very soon this week. Right, Matt, over to you. I've actually got 5 reasons, so you've got an option of 1, 2, 3, or 5.
Oh, now you tell me.
I'll go with 5.
5. Another reason why AFC Bournemouth will get promoted this year, because the Championship won't capitalise on any errors that Bournemouth make.
Yeah, would totally agree with that. I think it's been although it's always a competitive division, I think it's been fairly poor in terms of the standard this season, and we've obviously we've been able to capitalise on that really, because we haven't been great ourselves, as we've all spoken about. But everybody seems to be capable of beating each other, and nobody really is stepping up. I know in recent weeks you've had teams like Huddersfield Town and Luton Town that have gone on good runs of form. But as we'll probably talk about later on in the show when we do our predicted top 6, those runs will come to an end inevitably. I think maybe Huddersfield's and Luton's has not been timed to perfection, because to be able to sustain it until May is going to be a big ask for both of those teams. So nobody's really stepping up to the mantle and really challenging us below. West Brom have obviously dropped off massively, and they were as you all know, they were my tip to probably win the division at the start of the season, because I felt that they were really sort of championship savvy, really, and they had the squad and the manager for it. But they've been really disappointing. And Sheffield United, obviously, the other parachute team, have got off to such a poor start that they've been playing catch up ever since. They've always been a worry for me, Sheffield United, and they remain so. Certainly at this stage of the season, because they have stepped things up. They've got a hell of a squad as well, and they look to have a manager in place now that's capable of bringing them success. But they are a little way behind us. There's a bit of a gap there, as there is with a lot of these clubs. They've obviously played a lot more games than us as well, and they've just nobody has shown the consistency to be able to really challenge us at the moment. You think about QPR. Again, on paper, great squad, and I thought they'd be a big challenger. Blackburn Rovers, hell of a blow with them losing Brereton, Diaz to injury. So everybody behind us is falling by the wayside a little bit. So we've got to capitalise on that, and that will be be a big factor in us gaining promotion this season in the way that we've been so unconvincing. So yeah, totally agree. The championship itself and the quality of it this season could be a big reason for us going up.
Let's get a few more hellos out there before we move on to the next reason why AFC Bournemouth will get promoted. Thank you for joining us, Gene. Really appreciate that. We've also got Heather. Hope you're doing well. And look, we've got a good manager in place now. You know, I know he's split at times, but we had a manager that really helped us out last season. Jonathan Woodgate's getting involved this evening as well. Morgan Scott, hope you're doing okay. Over to you then, John. You have got the option of 1, 2, or 3 for the next reason why the Cherries going to get promoted.
No one else wants to take it seemingly, so I'll go for number 1.
Number 1, because hopefully at some point we're going to have squad depth, aren't we, John?
Yeah, I think you've. I think certainly you, on Twitter at least, I've seen sort of talk about worrying about our squad depth, or in previous videos talking about it's a good job we bought so many players given we've had those injuries, but. I mean, our squad depth is about 1.5 times what almost all of our competitors are, apart from the parachute teams. It's absolutely ridiculous, the kind of talent we've got. Obviously, Kiefer Moore is a huge blow in terms of the plan B. I think he would have been a shoo-in to come on in the last game had he been fit. But when you look at Ethan Laird coming in and Adam Smith coming in, both playing in the last game, both having an impact. You've got Todd Cantwell having a fantastic player that's come in. We lose Nat Phillips and bringing in Chris Mepham, who has been relatively faultless this season, which is a hell of a thing to do. And even behind that, you've still got Gary Cahill, who may not have the pace on him, but certainly has the savviness. We've got in goalkeeper, we've got the current best goalkeeper in the championship, in my opinion, versus the goalkeeper that was probably the best in the championship over the previous season or two. Apart from a striker, we've basically got ridiculous squad depth in every position. And it really is going to be so vital that these players come on and have an impact. You've only got to look at Marcondes, who really has had quite a significantly reduced impact on the season compared to the first 8 games. He comes on and provides the key pass for the second goal. A wonderfully placed ball through to Zamora. So we've got so much talent in there. It really is going to carry us through. Even if the top ones aren't performing, someone else will come in and fill its place. That competition is the most important thing in the squad right now. And it would take a hell of a catastrophic collapse of injuries for us to really have to worry about squad availability for the rest of the season.
Absolutely well said. And there's also a comment up there from Morgan saying, well said, Matt. Now, Steve, you've got 2 options left then. It's a 2 or a 3 for you.
Well, 3 is a magic number, apparently. So let's have that
3
one.
is the magic number. And number 3, this reason, will give us a promotion back to the Premier League. Because we are the comeback kings, aren't we, Steve?
Are we? Well, on a few occasions, I don't necessarily agree with that, but
last 2 games.
Yeah, last 2
this
games.
Is perfect for you, Steve.
I suppose if you look at it from that angle, yeah, if you're going to go and talk about the most recent form, and we're going to build a bit of momentum, and we're certainly leaving it late to come back in these games. I don't necessarily. This is a hard one for me because I don't concur that that's really a good thing to be. It's a nice habit to get into winning when you're not playing at your best, which I think is what we probably say about our last few performances. And that, they do say about teams that sign of champions, and it's sort of you're playing not your best football, but you're still winning the games. And like John said, we've got a hell of a squad there now, and we should be putting some of these teams to bed quite a lot earlier than we are. So the fact that we are comeback kings of late is a good sign, and hopefully that can spur on a bit of momentum and build a little bit of momentum going into the final few games, because that is a hell of a run-in we've got. As has every other team, got a horrendous run of fixtures, I think, pretty much. So we're going to need momentum. I said this last season when we were going into the run-in, and Jonathan Woodgate built it up, and then he just, at that final hurdle, he let that momentum go, and I think we paid the price for that. So hopefully, being the comeback kings of late, I think that will, it could spur us on, and it certainly does a lot for team spirit of the, around the club.
And
There's a lot of people coming out of that game on Saturday thinking, how have we got away with that? But happy days, brilliant, and it creates a better feel around the place. I know we didn't like the clackers, but that these little things and trying to coming back and showing we never give up. It's really showing it's building a nice bond within the club at the moment.
I think what's been evident for me the last two games is even their performances haven't been great, I think we can all acknowledge. As Steve said, the spirit, the togetherness seems to be there, the all-for-one attitude. I mean, when we scored that last minute winner at Blackpool, Ben Pearson went ballistic on the bench, jumping up and down. He didn't even get on the pitch. And you could see the togetherness on that, the alt angle on afcb.co.uk. The players who even weren't involved, all around Jamal Lowe. There was a real sort of spirit, togetherness. They are clearly playing for Parker and believe what he's doing. And I've read a lot of pieces from Jacob Tanswell recently. A lot of us have been quite critical about some of our performances, but his keen eye has picked up on a lot of things, a lot of evidence. And when we think Parker's maybe not changing things in games, he is making certain tweaks, which maybe we didn't notice. And Jacob's pointed that out. And I think one of them is the fact that whatever the fan base thinks about some of Parker's methods, the players clearly, demonstrably are buying into it and are playing for him. So there's something to be said for that. And I think the dressing room, I think it was Jamal Lowe said at the end, sometimes the dressing room's much more hyped after a win like the last two than if they win 4-0.
Yeah.
Ironic, wasn't it, that Jamal Lowe scored late on in a central position. But anyway, let's move on to the fifth reason why the Cherries will get promoted. And this guy, he's picked up some trophies today. It's Mark Travers, and this is perfect. This fell on me because I was telling ship him out on loan. I don't think he's going to cut the mustard. Well, he's proved me wrong. He's proved a lot of fans wrong. I think we all wanted Mark Travers to do well. I think he had a freak performance against Tottenham. He was in and out the team after that with just one performance here, one performance there. That probably didn't help him. He had a bit of an off day against Blackburn. Begovic came in, was unbelievable. And maybe that you thought that was the end for Mark Travers, but I think he's come back brilliantly. I think he's been absolutely fantastic, and he's picked up 4 man the match performances recently. I think given the player of the season now, I don't see him losing that from here on in. But I'll just fly over to you, Matt, quickly as well, to throw it over to you. And yeah, I mean, again, he saved us. We were 1-0 down, and he made an unbelievable save towards the North Stand to keep us in the game on Saturday.
He did indeed, Kirk, and I was with you at the start of the season. We've said this many a time on this show, haven't we? That at the start of the season we were saying Travers needs to go out on loan for his own good and for the good of the club, really. And we need to bring in an experienced number one. And ironically, that would have been Freddie Woodman at the time, wouldn't it? Who is now with us, at the club now. But yeah, for me, I mean, we talked about or Aaron, waxed lyrical about Dom Solanke earlier in the show. And rightly so. But for me, this man will be as much the reason that we go up as Dom Solanke. He's been absolutely phenomenal. And to think that he's stepped in at such a young age into the number one position. I know he had a taste of it in the Premier League. I think he played against Tottenham in our Premier League campaign a few years ago, and he was outstanding. But for him to step up under such pressure, really, and under such criticism from certain sections of the fan base early on, the attitude and the character that he has shown has been nothing sort of phenomenal, really, for such a young man. So I can't praise him highly enough. And as much as Dom Solanke with his 21 goals so far, 20 league goals so far, will be a massive factor in us going up, Mark Travers has been man of the match more times than I can care to think about this season. Some people might say that that's a concern. In as much as you keep as man of the match every week, and which means you're leaking too many opportunities at the other end, and you're not defensively solid as a unit and as a team. But any promoted team, any team that's successful, particularly in this division, is going to need that. And we've been fortunate to have it the last couple of seasons. We weren't able to capitalise on it last season with Begovic, but we've got it this season again with Mark Travers unexpectedly, and he's been phenomenal, and he'll be a massive reason why.
Absolutely spot on. So will AFC Bournemouth going to keep getting away with it? Well, again, we're going to hold on to that question until the end and find out. But it's not just Bournemouth, is it, John? We need to also maybe just quickly highlight some other news going around the Championship and in football. Let's look at the rest of the Championship. John, tell me about Luton Town. 15 points from a possible 18. They're now in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's quite a story. I mean, God, when was it? When was that? What was it? The first watch along that we did, and I said Luton are doing better than their result. Are actually a better team than their results tell us. And what was it? They went and won 5-0 that night, or something like that. And then they've also gone through a bad patch recently, but have since, as that tweet shows, come into a really good bit of form. The difficulty for them is going to be maintaining it. They obviously don't have the kind of squad that the likes of Sheffield United and Middlesbrough do. I think it's very possible that they could still be in the top 6 by the end of come the end of the season. It's going to be a very difficult job for them, but there's no doubt that they've got the kind of togetherness and the kind of feel around that club that I feel that Bournemouth had around the Eddie Howe periods. You know, they have the same kind of the man in Nathan Jones that really just seems to be the Messiah that returned after getting them promoted twice, leaving for Stoke, not doing well at Stoke, and then going back and doing brilliantly with Luton. Obviously, they've got less money than we did, but they're doing a fantastic job. And they really do have a good shot at this. This year they have admittedly, you have to consider that they've also played a few more games than some of the other teams around them. But I was looking at this year, points gained, they're second behind Fulham. Admitted on after 11 games. The likes of, say, Nottingham Forest and Middlesbrough have only played 8, so they've picked up less games, but they still have a better points per game ratio than those. They really do have a shot at it, but they are probably going to be still the outsiders in comparison to some of the other teams that are going for that top 6 spots.
Also going around the Championship, Steve, is Huddersfield. This one still surprises me week on week, really. But they have their longest unbeaten run in the second division ever, and they're keeping themselves in the playoffs as well. I mean, you've been impressed with Huddersfield? You're on mute.
Yeah. Hello, I'm back again. They have taken the division by surprise a little bit here, haven't they? Because I don't think anyone would have said at the beginning of the season you would have put Huddersfield Town up there. But they've got a couple of decent players. I mean, Josh Grome was one we were linked to just recently, who's, looks to me like a really good player in the making. I don't know what his goals tally is. Maybe John can help me out on that. But he seems to, most weeks I watch the EFL show, he's either assisting or scoring. So, they're a surprise package, but, all the best to them. I mean, we got to go up there in a couple of weeks, which is not looking forward to that one, but it's a tricky place to go at the moment, the John Smiths.
It's for us sometimes.
Yeah.
And finally, Matt, just coming back over to you, because I know you spoke about this one off air, and that was Ben Brereton out for Blackburn. Is that going to make a difference for them?
Yeah, it's a huge loss for them, and they were. I think they struggled to score goals really, even with Brereton Diaz in the side. Collectively, as a team, they really struggle now with Brereton Diaz, and for me, that is a major factor in them making the promotion playoffs or not. And for me, the fact that he's out now it's going to be out for the season now, is going to be the reason that they don't make it, in my opinion, because he was so pivotal to them in terms of his what he was weighing in with goals, and I just don't see where they're going to come from now with him out of the side. They do. I mean, Tony Mowbray is a sharp man. He's a wily old fox, isn't he? Tony Mowbray as a manager, a lot of experience. He knows the league, and he has assembled a team there in Blackburn that have obviously got a tremendous togetherness and team spirit. We obviously tried to ruffle a few feathers, didn't we, in the transfer window, and upset that with links with Joe Rothwell, which didn't come about. But he does seem to have galvanised the group, and there's very much a siege mentality within the Blackburn Rovers squad, because they're not fancied, are they? They weren't fancied, and they're still probably not fancied to make the top 6, let alone gain promotion. So he's been very clever at how he's managed that, I feel, both in front of the media and the press and behind closed doors. He's got the team together. They're very solid. They're a very solid unit, Blackburn. They don't, as we saw. I mean, I was very impressed with them when they came to Dean Court, and the way they went about their business that day, and how they managed us, their game plan. They worked it to perfection. So very solid. They won't concede a lot of goals. But for me, I think with Diaz out, but with Brereton Diaz out, it's just it's killed them really in terms of their promotion aspirations and making the top 6.
Is he definitely out for the season? Is that confirmed?
It's close.
I'm assuming
it's very close.
Okay.
I'm assuming,
close.
but an injury
Roundabout,
like
I
that,
think.
you would have thought it's every chance he will be.
What I like about Blackburn is they've given Mowbray. I mean, he's been there quite a while now, hasn't he? He's been given a chance to build that team from up, from sort of lower echelons of the Championship, and they've, it's got a good advert to sort of say stick with your manager rather than going through him every couple of seasons. He's built a nice little team there. And it's a shame they've lost Brereton Diaz because they're a big club.
Yeah, not more so, Steve. I mean, that 7-0 home defeat to Fulham, that could have been the end for Mowbray, couldn't it? And in a lot of clubs, it would have been, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, so you could say the same thing about Southampton with Hasenhüttl, couldn't you? The 2 9-0s, and now look where they are.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, 1 minute injury time has been added in the first half, and what we're going to do at this part in the stream, we're just going to break it up because it is going to be potentially a stressful second half as we try and predict what Bournemouth are going to do from here until May. So it wasn't just Championship news that was going around last week. Now, Aaron, you must remember this, and you may not remember this depending on what age you are, but lots of you might, and that's that Masters football is coming back for the first time in 11 years. And Aaron, this made us have a little bit of a think, didn't it? We were like, if Bournemouth were going to be in the Masters in that indoor tournament, what best 6-a-side team could we pick? And that's what we're going to do right now, aren't we, Aaron?
Yeah, well, I don't know why you picked on me. It must be the grey hairs that you can see. Yeah, I do remember the old 6-a-sides indoor tournaments that going back in the 80s and 90s. It was great. So yeah, it'd be very interesting. I don't remember Bournemouth ever being part of it, clearly because we were never a top flight side. But yeah, I think it'll be really interesting to see what we could come up with certain in certain parameters for a top 6-a-side Masters team.
So this is how it's going to work, and you can get involved in the chat. We're going to build a 6-a-side team. Each person's going to get a position. They're going to give us a 20-second info on that player. You can try and predict who that person is talking about, and then that person, whoever's talking about that position, is going to tell us who they have picked. And we're going to go, just like we do on the previews, to our virtual pitch. And just as well, you will see that Harry Redknapp is the manager for this 6-a-side team. Okay, so there is sort of a few rules in this as well. We've said that they need to be able to still play football. So we've gone age 35 to 50. They can't play for Bournemouth currently, but they can still play. They could be 39, still playing football, but as long as they're not playing for Bournemouth. So age 35 to 50. Give us your players if you want to in the chat, or try and predict who we're talking about. So I'm going for the first position, guys. And you can also try and predict who I'm talking about. So I'm going for the goalkeeper. In goal for this 6-a-side Bournemouth team that's going to the Masters this series. He is aged 42, right-footed, part of the Championship promotion team. He had 36 clean sheets, and he's still playing.
Oh, I
If
wonder.
I say the next thing, I'll probably give it away.
Does he still go around punching people?
Does any of you guys want to predict who I'm talking about?
Artur Boruc.
Got to be the big pole, isn't it?
The big pole in the goal.
I was going to give the nationality away, but
the holy goalie.
I mean, he gives you what you need in Masters is someone that's going to give you a little bit of strength and a little bit of passion. And Harry Redknapp would have liked that, wouldn't he? So in goal for our 6-a-side team is Artur Boruc. Another one in there as well. So coming to you, Steve, I wanted one defender to play player 2, shall we say? Tell us about the first defender you're going to pick.
Right. He was a left back for us. He's 44 currently. Signed from Reading 2013. 28 appearances for us. But 64 appearances for his country with 12 goals.
I think I've got this one, guys.
I got it. I think.
Yeah, same.
Do you want me to reveal, or are you going to...
Yeah, I think
reveal it, Steve. Go on.
It is Ian Hart, yeah.
Ian Hart. That's an interesting one. Bit left field, actually, weirdly.
I think you want, in a 6-a-side team, you don't want centre backs. I think you want full backs.
Strategic thinking here.
I like your thinking. So as the six-a-side team is being picked, we've got Boric in goal, we've got Ian Hart, and we come over to John, who's going to give us our second defender, who's going to play alongside Ian Hart. Tell us about the next defender, John.
Oh, this is really tough because I got two, and it's difficult to pick between the two of them, to be honest. But I'm going to go with right-footed, 43, I believe, at this point. We had him on loan at the time before moving on to bigger and better things. Incredibly comfortable on the ball, and this passing attribute of his is probably the reason why I pick him over my other choice. And you probably would have seen him on the TV quite a lot recently.
Aaron,
I say recently, over the last like half a decade.
His name is Rio.
Great loan signing for the Cherries, to be fair, when you look back. And a great player to have in a six-a-side team. Organising, I reckon, I would associate him with. Organising that six-a-side team.
Can we have honourable mentions?
Go on then. Honourable mentions.
Go on then. Mention your other one, John.
Yeah, well, the other one obviously is Eddie Howe. Would be the other optional mention, which would have been close because I think with his size and the fact that he sort of as a centre back, he did well because of his intelligence. I think that's the kind of thing that you can really do with on a six-a-side pitch. He worked space so much better. But I think maybe he wouldn't quite be as able to do it at this point with all the injuries that he had, as Ferdinand could.
Okay, Matt, coming to you. We've got the defence sorted. We're going to stop clean sheets. We've got the big pole in the goal. Now we need to get on the ball. We need to create chances. First midfielder in this six-a-side team.
Yeah, so obviously I've chosen two midfielders, but I'll go with my first pick. So this particular player, he played for the Cherries between 2000 and 2005. He made 220 appearances in total, scoring 31 goals. He's 43 years old presently. And just touching on those numbers of appearances and goals, his assists, I'm guessing, would probably be nearly as high as his appearances because he seemed to get an assist most weeks for us. He was a really pivotal part of our team in the early to mid noughties with varying levels of success. He was involved in a relegation. He was also involved in a promotion, and it's been guessed correctly by my namesake in the chat.
Yeah,
I think Mark Davis has got it, and Paul Horry, and Jacob the Cherries, and Mark Cole as well. Wade Elliott, what a player, an absolute star.
Brilliant, wasn't he?
Who's going to play alongside him then, Aaron? Elliott's in the team. Who's going to play alongside him in midfield?
Well, as everyone say, it's so tricky because there's so many midfielders. But I think you've got Wade Elliott to assist. I think we're going to need more of a box-to-box player, someone who has real energy. He's actually 47, so the top end of our age bracket.
I know.
His first full season, he was wearing this shirt.
I think it's been guessed already.
And yeah, he would be my skipper of this team. Yeah. Born in Bury, played for Ireland, Matty Holland.
Brilliant.
Good choice.
Little Irish connection there. Ian Hart and Matty Holland.
Yeah.
And now we just need a striker who's going to be ruthless. And there could be so many strikers that we could go for. But again, Steve, I'm going to give the striker, by the way, but just what you picked up on is that we need different types of players in a different environment in an indoor football.
Yeah.
That it's not just about having certain players that you think you're picking an 11 on a grass pitch. So my striker, I need to be ruthless. I don't think he needs his legs anymore. So I've gone for, he is aged 39, right-footed, 5'6". He's played for clubs in England, Scotland, and America. Only scored about 24 goals for the Cherries in 2 spells.
I don't know who you're talking about.
That would be,
did he play for Portsmouth?
So let's just go to the chat, shall we? Because Mark Cole has gone Defoe. Mark Steen.
See, I thought Mark Steen.
Defoe.
It's got to be Defoe, isn't it?
It's got to be Defoe, surely.
Yeah.
And you know what? When you look at the manager that's taken that six-a-side team. He knows him very well, doesn't he? Jermaine Defoe I've gone for. I just think we need someone who's clinical. He doesn't need to run behind defences anymore, and he was ruthless. Quickly, let's go around the room because we know we've got to get into that second half and that predicted championship season. Quickly, Aaron, just give me your thoughts on that six-side team if we're in the Masters.
Just being pedantic, it's Matty Holland as opposed to Danny Hollands. But yeah, great.
He's no good at his homework, is he?
Yeah, look, we could have chosen from anybody, but yeah, that excites me. I'd love to see those players out there in a Bournemouth shirt again. Yeah, I had a real feeling for Efan Okoku. I wanted him in that team, but I'll make it.
Actually, talking of being pedantic, Neil's just gone. Didn't he play in Canada, not America? He probably did play in Canada, but wasn't
he would have played in both because they the league goes across both countries.
Yeah,
I think we both win, Neil. But that is a cracking team, isn't it, guys? And it's a bit of fun, isn't it? And
the one I didn't know if anyone was saying was Carl Fletcher was the other one for me.
Yeah, I did think about that, Steve.
Yeah.
Would Jamie Redknapp fit in this?
He was my other one, John.
Yeah,
Jamie Redknapp was my second.
That's a hell of a player not to put in as well to this, but it's a. Yeah,
I didn't have the shirt for Jamie, so I had to choose Malvern.
Well, we could do this all night because there's so many great players that have played for the Cherries, but we have got 25 minutes to go in this live stream and we need to get into the second half of it. Make sure you subscribe, hit the like button. Let's do it. The current championship table is Fulham at the top, Bournemouth with 61 points, Huddersfield in third, Blackburn fourth, QPR fifth, and Luton sixth. And let's just take a look back, if I can find it, guys. Can you remember what we predicted at the start of the season in a tier list? I'm going to show it on the screen now. Let's just remind ourselves of the top six that we went for. It was West Brom at the top, Sheffield United, Fulham in the playoffs, Borough in the playoffs, QPR and Bournemouth. We're about halfway there, aren't we?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Too far away, is it?
Too far
no, it's not too far away.
West Brom's obviously big one, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So you're going to be able to get involved in the chat again. Currently watching us 30 fans, so we really appreciate that. What we're going to try and do now is we're going to try and predict the results from here on in to the end of May, because we can't wait until May the 7th and hopefully Bournemouth have got promoted. What we've also done, let's just go to what we've tried to do. So we've gone back to the tier list and I've asked all the guys to tell me who they think will be in the top six before we predict the results until 46th game. And this is what we've come up with, guys. So they all gave me their top six. I've collectively put it all together and this has given us our top six. So, John, that's currently what's been made up of all the information you guys have given me. Fulham, Bournemouth at the top, automatics in the playoffs, Sheffield United, Huddersfield, Forest and Luton. Compared to what you predicted, is that a surprise?
That's interesting, actually, that Forest and Luton have made it in there, because I was actually torn between who would miss out of those two. I ended up going way too deep into this when you asked me for my top six. I spent an hour going through all of the fixtures and who's got what left, and then came up with some surprising results for me. And I actually think Blackburn will stay in it. And I think it was actually out of Forest and Luton who would find the sixth spot. And I just about pipped to Luton, but it was a toss of a coin. It's really close though between all of those, and there's really arguments for all of those teams. The two things I'm very certain of: Sheffield United will make it in, and QPR will not. Those are the two things I'm very certain of. QPR have got the hardest run in by quite a distance, and Blackburn have got the easiest run in by quite a distance. But Sheffield United have got a lot more games at home, and that's, I think, what will easily get them over the line. But other than that, it's really quite it could be anyone's game. It really could be.
So that's what we've predicted on paper. And now we're going to go to an app and use a predictor for the scoring. Now, what we've done, whether this is fair or not fair, we've chosen the top teams, the top 10, and we've just assumed that anyone outside the top 10 has maybe left it too late. Otherwise, we'll be here all night predicting scores. So we've gone from Coventry, upwards. What we've also done, and we're going to show you some of the scores, especially the Bournemouth ones, is we've already predicted the scores up to the 42nd game week. And when I say we predicted the scores, we're going to go for a win, a draw, or an away win, but we're going to do it 1-0. So it'll be 1-0 for a win either way, or a draw. We're not actually predicting the scores. We're just trying to get the points on the board. That sort of made sense, guys, when we were doing it off air, as we've got to this prepared stage, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
Clear as mud, mate.
Anyway, we could do it.
And you can get involved in the chat. But what I would say is, when we come to the 43rd game, we just want to know what your score prediction for Bournemouth is. So whether that's a Bournemouth win or a Bournemouth loss or a draw. We don't need to know all the scores for that round, but we're going to go through it. But you tell us your Bournemouth outcome, and we'll show that on the screen. Let's go to...
I'm actually quite concerned after 42 games because we were quite harsh on Bournemouth.
You were the one that didn't give us a single win.
I'd like to play devil's advocate to give myself a bit of comfort that we'll do better than that. But yeah.
Okay. So we're just going to fly through some scores here to bring you up to speed. And I'm just going to mention the Bournemouth ones. And we're picking off the ones that have also been postponed. So we have gone for, in game 26, we went for Sheffield United to beat Borough, Fulham to beat Swansea, and Bournemouth to beat Peterborough. In game week 27, we already played, and we've gone to game week 30, which is Bournemouth to beat West Brom. We've gone for Bournemouth to draw with Nottingham Forest in game week 33. Game week 34, we've gone for a draw against Swansea. Game week 36, we have gone for a draw against Preston on Saturday. We've gone for a win against Derby in game week 37. 38, we have gone for a win against Reading. 39, we've gone for a loss against Huddersfield. 40, we have gone for a win against Bristol City. 41, we've gone for a draw at Sheffield United. And 42, we have gone for a draw against Middlesbrough. Right, now we're going to go into game week 43, and we're only going to predict the 10 teams only. And I'm going to come to you first, Aaron. And for you listening in the chat, you tell us the Bournemouth outcome of Bournemouth versus Coventry away. But coming to you, Aaron, Blackburn versus Stoke.
Home win.
Sheffield United versus Bristol City.
Sheffield United.
Luton versus Cardiff City.
Luton to win. Actually, no, you know what? I'm going to say a draw for that one. Cardiff have picked up a bit.
We're going to come back to Bournemouth. Fulham versus Preston.
Fulham.
Huddersfield versus Borough.
Ooh. See, I think Middlesbrough last couple of games have dropped off, but they are good at home. So I mean, we can't keep predicting Huddersfield to win every single game. So I'm going to say a draw.
Draw. Okay. We got Forest versus West Brom.
Oh, Forest. Brucey Magic.
And QPR versus Derby.
QPR win that.
If Bruce is still there, of course.
Does anyone think, I was about to say, does anyone think he'd get sacked twice in a season?
Oh,
yeah.
Funny.
If anyone can, Steve Bruce can.
Do you remember what he said about Eddie Howe when he got a job at Newcastle?
Yeah, that guy that got Bournemouth relegated.
Okay.
So, Aaron, Coventry City versus AFC Bournemouth. Let's go to the chat. Got a Bournemouth win. Neil's gone for a draw. Mark Cole's gone for an away win versus Coventry. Chris has gone for a Bournemouth away win, and Mark has gone for a Bournemouth win. Lada's gone for the score of 3-0, and Jean's also gone for a Cherries win. And we've also got a score prediction in there. So Bournemouth versus Coventry away.
I don't think we're going to lose the game. Coventry obviously have surprised a lot of people this season. They're still kind of hanging in there just about, mainly by their home form. Their home form has been very, very good. But there's something about like an Easter weekend. Hopefully the sun will be shining. The pitch is not so bad that I think we will go to Coventry and play and beat them. Because I think one thing that Coventry do, they like to play football. They are a team who gets the ball down, and we tend to do better against teams like that. And I think they will come at us. I think they will attack us. I don't think they'll sit back at home. So for that reason, I think we will beat Coventry away. Yeah,
and I think if you look at our recent record against Coventry, we've got a pretty darn good record against them. And you've only got to look at this game, our most recent game. The only reason we drew that is because Lerma got sent off for a stupid mistake.
Yeah, no, I'd fancy us.
Right, we go into game week 44, and Matt, we're going to just skip Bournemouth Fulham, but in the chat, we want to know your outcome of Bournemouth versus Fulham. Bournemouth win, Bournemouth loss, or a draw. But Matt, you're going to go straight in for Huddersfield versus Barnsley.
I've got to say home win there, Kirk.
Luton versus Blackpool.
That's a tricky one for Luton. I'm going to go for a draw there.
Peterborough versus Nottingham Forest.
That's a away win.
Preston versus Blackburn.
Preston, Blackburn, local derby, Lancashire derby, draw.
Sheffield United versus Cardiff City.
That's a home win.
Stoke City versus QPR.
Ooh, that's a tough one for QPR. I'm going to go for a home win.
And Swansea versus QPR. Swansea versus Middlesbrough.
Swansea, Middlesbrough, draw.
And West Brom versus Coventry City.
Let's not go too harsh on West Brom because we have been, haven't we? Let's say they'll get a draw here, Midlands derby.
Just a draw.
Give Brucey something. Come on.
We've literally given nothing so far, and I just remembered I left Liam's chat on there for a win. So let's come away from that. Bournemouth Fulham then at home, Matt. How are you feeling about this game as I show some results on the screen? Starting with Paul.
Yeah, do you know what? I'm actually really positive. We can still win the title. We've got 2 games in hand over Fulham. We're 9 points behind, aren't we? If we win the games in hand, 6. This could be a huge game. We're talking the end of April here. Let's have it. Let's go for it. I'm going Bournemouth win.
And that's a great point from Mark Davis as well. Fulham promoted by then. Take the foot off the gas.
Maybe,
win.
But Parker will want it, won't he? Big time.
So Matt has gone for a Bournemouth win, and that will take us into game week 45. And we move over to John. And I need to make sure I do this properly for John. He doesn't like it when I get the teams the wrong way around. So we're going to skip Blackburn versus Bournemouth. Let us know your outcome of Blackburn versus Bournemouth in the chat. We move on though, and we go to Coventry City versus Huddersfield.
I'll go for a draw on that one.
Fulham versus Luton.
Didn't Luton beat them? Was it? No. I'll go for a draw. Fulham probably on the beach by then.
Borough versus Stoke.
Borough.
Nottingham Forest versus Swansea.
Forest.
QPR versus Sheffield United.
Sheffield United.
We go back to Ewood. We go to Blackburn away. Last away game of the season. How are you feeling about that game, John, as I show you some scores?
Yeah, that one, I don't know, by that point I would have thought we probably are in a position where it's weird, because if you think a couple of months ago, you would have looked at that game and think that's going to decide who finishes second. And I really don't think that's going to be, I don't think any of us think that's going to be the case anymore. In our predictions that you showed up before, there's enough of us in our group of 5 that think Blackburn won't make the top 6 anymore. So they'll probably be fighting to stay in the top 6 at that point, and whereas we will hopefully be promoted by then. So, you know, there could well be just one team that wants it more than the other at that point. I'd hope, given this last away game of the season, certainly be the last game I get to, that we'd win that game, but I'm not sure whether we'll necessarily be all that too worried about passing them off the park like we may have done. I'd probably go with a draw, I think.
A draw for John, and a few wins in the chat. Steve, last game week of the Championship 2021-2022. We want your outcomes in the chat for Bournemouth versus Millwall. We're going to move on from that one, and we're going to go to Birmingham versus Blackburn, John.
You said John?
Steve.
Birmingham v Blackburn. I'm going to call that one a draw.
Huddersfield, Bristol City.
Huddersfield.
Hull City, Nottingham Forest.
Forest.
Luton versus Reading.
Gonna go. Yeah, Luton that one.
Preston versus Middlesbrough.
No, home win.
Sheffield United versus Fulham.
Home win.
Stoke versus Coventry.
Draw.
And Swansea versus QPR.
Another draw.
And that leaves Bournemouth versus Millwall on the last home game of the season. We might be promoted by then. How are we feeling in the chat? Just trying to pick up where we were. Paul's gone for we beat Millwall, then they win the playoffs. We haven't brought Millwall into this situation, but fair point. Chris Hubble's gone for a Bournemouth home win. Mark Cole's gone for a home win. Jakey up the Cherries gone for a Cherries win. Layla's gone for lose to Millwall because we'll put out a team for the minutes. Liam's gone for 5-0 win. Wing's gone for a win. Mark's gone for Billing. That'll do it. And Jean's also gone for a Cherries win. Game at home against Millwall then. Last game of the season, Steve.
Yes, I mean, it's a good point, Layla, mate. So it could be that we are promoted by that point. And it might not matter at all. But I'd like to think that we still go and, try and get as many points as we can. And I think it'll be an easy, a comfortable home win to round it all off, and nice, big celebration afterwards.
Pitch invasion and all that.
Yeah, why not?
I think, guys, we have done all we can, because we're going to put ourselves out of our misery very, 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 very soon. All I need to do now...
You can press the button and we'll be third, and I'll go, oh.
We're going to hit this calculate button. It's done. We can't do any more.
Just don't press reset.
And we're going to come back to that final championship table that we've predicted. And guys, I want you to all go mad if we're in the top two. Just imagine we've just been confirmed as United, and I want celebrations. In the meantime, as that's calculating in the background, we need you to subscribe to Cherries Red Army and hit the like button. And we also want you to get excited in the chat if Bournemouth are in the top two. We did it, boys! We're going to the play! Get in. There is the championship predictor table off the app where we predicted home wins, away wins, and draws. Fulham, 97 points. AFC Bournemouth, 91 points. Huddersfield, 86 points. Sheffield United, 84. Luton, 81. Forest, 79. And if I'm correct in thinking, that was the correct predictions that we had beforehand. Aaron, going around the room, I'm looking at that thinking we still gave Bournemouth an awful lot of draws.
Yeah, it's not as comfortable as I would have hoped by the end of it. We lose to Sheffield United instead of drawing to them. It looks a little bit nervy, but yeah, you're right. I think, I especially was quite harsh on Bournemouth in the earlier rounds, trying to play a bit of devil's advocate. We think we lost, drew at Preston, lost to Huddersfield, drew a couple of other games, Middlesbrough and Forest at home, and yet we still end 5 points clear. So it's not like we predicted Bournemouth to win every game. So hopefully we give ourselves a bit of leeway there. And I also think we predicted Huddersfield to win most games and Sheffield United to win most games. So on the basis that we were harsh on ourselves and probably very favourable to Huddersfield and Sheffield United, it's looking pretty good.
Matt, 91 points. I think I was looking around 85 without physically working out. But that's a lot better. Not a lot better, but that is exceeded my points total that I would have had in my mind, I think.
Yeah, when we won the championship in 2015, I think we got 90 points then, didn't we? And a quick stat for everybody, we're actually on at least the same number of points after 31 games now than what we were in 2014-15. Can you believe that? Because that season was phenomenal, wasn't it, for everyone?
How have we
when
done
you look
that?
back, we were smashing everyone every week, weren't we? Yet we're on the same number of points at least at this stage of the season to what we were then. So that's quite unbelievable to think about. Sorry, John, about doing the stats on that one.
Nicking his stats.
No,
Sorry,
it's fine.
mate.
But I was actually just going to say, because as was pointed out by, I think it was Mark Cole, that Benjamin Bloom literally today put out a video on who would fit in the top 2, and the only team, the biggest sort of jump from this point in the season to the end of the season was Bournemouth's win in 2014-15, because we'd just gone on. We were right at the end of our losing streak in that season. At this point, we were 4th this time in that competition, and then we just took our form off and flew off again, and obviously got past Watford on the final day of the season. So I think we may be a little bit more consistent this season, despite not necessarily performing as well. But I agree, it's funny to think.
It's unbelievable to think. And bang goes my big speech about if we beat Fulham, we'll win the league, because we're 6 points off them. Because Heather's just asked in the chat, if we beat Fulham, can we go above them? Well, we're 2 games in hand, and if we beat them, we technically, we could go level with them, although the goal difference is a mile away, isn't it? So we're not going to overtake them on that. But we're still 6 points behind them, even though we predicted to beat them. So that's interesting.
We were quite harsh on QPR as well, and I think even if you give them 4 more wins, they're still miles behind us.
Yeah,
and
we were quite harsh on ourselves.
We were very harsh on Blackburn as well.
See, if we lose at Preston on Saturday, it's all part of the master plan. Don't worry.
Well, I was going to say, Steve, that it's quite easier for us to sit here and just predict these scores. But on Saturday, 3 p.m, we need to turn it on, and we need to put real points on the board to try and achieve what we've just virtually done.
Well, yeah, we keep saying it, don't we? But Preston, as we all know, aren't one of our favourable teams. They don't like giving us points, them lot. So I'd be happy with a draw on the weekend. But I mean, we've just sit there and we've calculated all that, and we all know, anyone who's made a bet or done an accumulator in their life knows that you're never going to get all those right, and there's going to be a few upsets along the way here and there. And I'll be very surprised if we get it. It's exactly as we've shown it there. So, I mean, I think there'll be a surprise package that maybe nobody thinks about might sneak in there. I don't know, or stay in there. I mean, who knows? QPR could turn their form around. Blackburn might keep it going, but it'd be hard without Brereton Diaz. You don't know. It's a really difficult thing to try and call.
But it's a bit of fun.
These 3 home games coming up are going to be massive. 3 games in a week: Peterborough, Derby, Reading. I think we predicted they're going to win all 3, and then we predicted we'd lose to Huddersfield. So even if we don't win at Huddersfield or Preston, I think if we win those 3 home games and get those, the one thing it
does do is if we do win those next 3 games, then there is that sort of, the pressure's off us a little bit, so we can go into those games and play a bit more, with the shackles off, a bit more freedom, and maybe that will help us in that regard. So going into these games not having to win them.
Yeah, I'd like us to get the points on the board before April, because our April is, as we've all said, it looks really, really tough, doesn't it? So but
that's what I mean.
These 3 home games, we need 7 points minimum, don't we, out of these 3 home games? And at least
mine's about April. Everyone's going on about April, how difficult it is. Of course, on paper, it's difficult. But for me, I sometimes think we struggle to beat the likes of Stoke at home, even Peterborough at home, when they're going to have a low block. All these teams we're playing in April will try and go toe-to-toe with us and try and play. And I think in the nicer weather as well, I think we might have more joy against those sort of teams and the teams that come play 5 at the back against us at home.
I think it's just a relentless of the fixtures, isn't it? It's just
And I was
big games.
I was going to touch on something about Saturday. We talked about Parkerbourne. We've all said how frustrated we are and how turgid the football is. I like I said off air, I went with my old man on Saturday. I didn't drink at all, so I was able to really take the game in and absorb it. And the penny sort of dropped with me as to what Scott Parker is trying to achieve. The bloke has managed to manifest quite a team spirit there and a never say die attitude. So you have to give him credit for that. But what we were doing is and this is what his plan is, obviously, is we're just looking to pass teams to death. Once they get to the final 10 minutes, I mean, Stoke were dead on their feet. Stoke were absolutely dead on their feet where they were chasing. I'm not sure what the possession stats were. John might be able to.
Might have had something to do with they had 10 men.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would say
I know,
that.
but we did it at Blackpool as well. I just think he's got this game plan, hasn't he? That we're possession based. We want to dominate the football, and then in the closing stages, he's relying on the quality that we've got in forward areas to win us the game. And it might not be pretty to watch. It's pretty turgid, but as long as we're churning out the results,
it's a bit of a dangerous game to play, though, isn't it? Relying on that you're going to wear someone down.
But it's his style, isn't it? It's what he wants to do.
Jamal Lowe said as much in his interview after. He said, the crowd were edgy, maybe wanting us to get the ball forward quicker, but we're going to stick to our principles because, there's no point launching the ball up to Dom Solanke. We haven't got Kiefer Moore available. So it's the patience and sticking to their principles.
And you can see that the players have bought into it, lads, can't you? You can see that the players are fully behind it, the game plan, and that they believe in it.
Well, I don't know what you're all worrying about because we are the comeback kings. And if Cherries Red Army says that virtually we're getting promoted, we are getting promoted. But don't come back to us if it doesn't work out. All right, it's not our fault if it doesn't work out. However, it's been an interesting stream. We've taken advantage of no midweek game. We've had a bit of fun. We've debated. Can we keep getting away with it? Looks like we can keep getting away with it, but we're going to have to turn up those performances maybe slightly coming very, very soon. So make sure you subscribe to Cherries Red Army. We've gone past 825. We want to keep going. Can we get to 850 very, very soon? Also hit the like button. Don't know how many likes we're on. Someone want to let me know in the chat, but hit that like button before this stream ends. And just like we did at the start, thank you to our channel supporter members, Mike, Mark, Rich, Richard, Sammy, Steve, Paul, and Neil. Thanks also to Jean and John for your donations recently. You can donate or become a supporter member by visiting buymeacoffee.com/cherriesredarmy. The link is also in the description below. That will take you straight to it. We'll really appreciate it. Helps us deliver these types of shows. And Aaron, quickly going around the room, it's been an interesting evening, and we're grateful that we have the opportunity to do what we've done tonight.
Yeah, no, it's been really good fun. Thanks to everybody watching. It's great to chat to the other four guys here. It's really, really great fun. And it's in the bag. Absolutely in the bag.
Matt, we roll on to potentially a live preview on Friday night. So hit that bell to be notified. Watch our socials on Twitter. And we've got Preston at the weekend. But thanks for joining me this evening. Hope you've had fun.
Yeah, always, Kurt. Always a pleasure to be on. Great to see you, lads. Great to see everybody so active in the chat as well, which is great. It's great to get everybody else's feedback in the chat and all those that are watching. Thank you very much for it. And up the Cherries, onwards and upwards to Preston, and let's hope we can get the right result.
John, great to see you. Are you going to Preston? Maybe thinking about it.
Yeah, I'm certainly thinking about it. I don't think I'm going to be worrying about getting a last-minute ticket. I certainly don't imagine there'll be...
Come on, John, I'll get you a pint.
I'll hold you to that, Steve. I'm definitely coming
John
now.
Vlog.
I would say as well, Kurt, I'm pretty sure it's an accurate stat. You talk about us being the comeback kings. As far as I'm aware, we have never lost when we have scored the first goal this season. So... that may be an even more important reason as to why we will go up this year. But regardless, it's been a great chat as usual. And thank you very much for everyone joining. And make sure you hit that like button. Come on, we're only at 25. I'm pretty sure we can get a bit higher than that.
Oh, absolutely.
Steve, take your enthusiasm up north on Saturday. Go get those 3 points. Enjoying your conversations this evening. Hope you've had fun.
Yeah, enthusiasm is my middle name, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, like all the other guys, it's great to chat to you all. I mean, I can't actually see all the chat and all the likes and all that stuff the way I tune in because I'm only on my little mobile phone. So, but yeah, it looks like it's all going well, and yeah, like all the videos, everyone, and keep on supporting.
And because we are going up, say we are going up. Thank you to everyone who's joined us this evening. Thanks to Aaron, Matt, John, Steve. It's been fun. The Cherries are going to the Premier League according to Cherries Red Army and their virtual predictor. We'll have more content coming for you on Friday evening.
Next week, the lottery.
It's just taken over my ending now. Friday night.
Yeah, it'd be rubbish anyway.
Friday night, 7:30, live match preview for Preston, and we'll have content over the weekend with some reaction, maybe coming from Preston if Steve does a recording on his phone, hopefully. But yeah, we are
Portrait,
going to the absolutely in landscape. But until the next video, we'll see you soon. Bournemouth apparently are getting promoted. Cheers, everyone. See you soon. Up the Cherries.